So there is enough time to run that startup, do that podcast, run 15 companies, have those kids, and live that great life. So have that ability to constantly be agile and change, but at the same time, keep investing back in yourself.
Now, this is going back to your academic journey. You started from doing economics at the Hindu, Delhi University, and then went on to do finance at Cambridge. All of this back in early 2000s, when there were almost no women role models in these fields. So what were your motivations and what led you to pursuing these fields?
I had a really fancy answer, but I'll be really honest with you, Nandini. When I look back, it's the 2000s, the world was just opening up. And it's interesting, but I actually like the fact that we didn't have too many choices, right? So I think when you were choosing careers, you could be an engineer, you could be a doctor, you could go to the arts, you could get into commerce. And I feel like it's interesting is that it's a paradigm of choice, right? I think when you have a lot of choice, it's much harder. So I think when it came to choosing economics or choosing finance, for someone who is, come from a Marwari family, I've always seen business all around me. So I think growing up, what I wanted to be was to be just like my dad. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I understood numbers. I understood the economy. And honestly, if I look back, that was really, really exciting time to be a young person in India. We were talking about reforms. We were the first people to see, television, which was not Doordarshan. The internet, like we had, we started from literally the dial-up internet to internet on our phones. So I think coming from there, it was a time where you're like, oh, I want to study the economy. I definitely want to be a part of this whole economic empowerment movement. And most of all, I wanted to be a part of the business world and really start business. And I think that's how this whole journey started. And really, if I look back, taught me, economics really taught me how the economy works. And, similarly, Cambridge not just talked about finance, but more than that, gave me a perspective of the global economy and how does India play a role, which of course has grown more and more in days to come. And of course, it's amazing now to have so many women leading the way in all these fields.
Slightly foraying a little parallelly into an initiative I feel like is a common thread in all your endeavors, which is going digital, be it your edtech slash job tech or one of the core initiatives of Because She Can is because digital matters. There is a growing consensus, right, that we are at the epoch of digital transformation and there is so much potential that could be unlocked. So the question is, how do you see digital force as a catalyst for women's empowerment, given that you have like a very first-hand view into this?
I kind of feel that at some levels we overemphasize digital. But what we need to kind of understand is that, digital is like a pen. It's like your phone. It's a device. So it's sort of a device that if you have a core message, you kind of need digital platforms to help you take them to the world. And it's just another medium. Earlier you had newspapers, you had face-to-face meetings. Digital is just like a platform that can help you reach a lot. And the use of this digital platform is going to be personalized for your purpose and what you're trying to do and achieve. And finally, like I said, first of all, it has to be localized. There's not going to be one solution that's going to, fit all. So, again, I go back, like when we first we talked about globalization, right? We talked about one world, one globe. But at the end of the day, it's not one globe, one world. I think it's about one community. You want to create localized communities. And you need to have localized communication. And I feel these digital platforms play an incredibly important role in enabling that. So when I'll take two examples. I'll talk about, Because She Can, I'll talk about Seiko. And if I talk about Seiko is talking about getting skills to, the youth. But at the end of the day, you want to get the skills that are localized and make sense for you. Very small example, every state in India is almost like its own country. Right. So now if I have someone in UP, if I have someone in Assam, if you have someone in Maharashtra, Maharashtrian child is way more comfortable in their own local language than an instructor in the UK or the US or even a Delhi or an NCR talking to them. So I feel like there needs to be these models, and it's enabling it where at one level it's giving you access to world class skill where you can get the best of the best and bring them to your local environments. But at the second end, you also have to localize that learning experience with them, and digital gives you, and it really brings down your cost of being able to do that. Similarly, with these, digital empowerment movements, I think it's been fantastic. The stories that we have shared and the ability to take this to the ground level, to take them to the villages, to take them to the BC grade towns. And for women empowerment in particular, in fact, this is my third point, but we met and met the president. We met Dr. Murmuji last month, and she talked about how we can use a phone. And again, and she's fantastic. She's 66. She is she, and again, it's empowering to have a tribal woman from Orissa leading this country. She doesn't speak in English. We were conversing, so she doesn't really talk in English. We're conversing between a mix of Odia and Hindi. And what she said was, Divya, can you use the phone to, bring digital skills to women? Because now women can actually be online, they can be at home and work. I have two kids. I have an 11-year-old, I have an 8-year-old son. And, there's so many meetings that I'm running on Zoom, from home or from class or running behind things. So I think there's definitely something that if we need to empower this, use technology for our benefits. But at the same time, we also need to realize that the rules have changed. So there'll be certain rules that if women are working from home, if women are working digitally, there'll be certain rules they have to follow. And have to be certain flexibility and maybe monitoring systems that businesses will need to create to let this integration happen. प्रॉब्लम क्या होती है दैट वी फील कि जो हमारे ऑफिस के रूल्स हैं द सेम रूल्स विल अप्लाई इन डिजिटल एनवायरनमेंट एंड बोथ ऑफ देम like don't really work. You will have to have digital communities. You'll have to have maybe rules. You can't be sitting messaging, talking to people at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So thoda हमारे को rules create करने पड़ेंगे. And I think that's a great space where a lot of work, that I'm particularly working on. And I feel like that we'll get more and more clarity on how this digital space will work in different environments and how we can converge that to improve the work we're doing, and empower more and more people.
I think that was really insightful. I've not heard people talk about the, new set of rule bringing because of digital as a medium empowering people. And picking up on that line of how we have no idea how the digital world kind of is going to shape in the coming years, right? And that, of course, translates into a lot of dynamic nature of job market, especially given how AI is just there, but also changing things. So I believe, especially as a young person in this economy, there is a lot of tension, a lot of nervousness about we don't know what it looks like in the future. So what kind of jobs are we really, skilling ourselves for or educating ourselves for? However, apart from just education and skill gap, do you think there are any other significant gap that exists that challenges, employability of the youth in a very AI driven world?
I love this question, and you're going to get a very philosophical answer from me, but I mean, I'm going to love talking about this. Again, like I said, there's been a drastic shift in the world that we live in, right? When we grew up, when our school systems was made, when the curriculums was made, it was made in a non-digital environment. We were created in a world of scarcity, right? When we were growing up, there were limited resources. आपको energy चाहिए, there's coal, there's fire, that's limited. We are talking about using hydro, and we're talking about using water for energy, which essentially means that you, Nandini, live in a limitless world, right? My problem was a problem of scarcity. When I said you asked, the first question was like, what did you decide? There were 300 seats in Delhi University, and you were lucky to bag if you had if you had 99.8%, you could get economics in Hindu, and that's what you went and did, right? Again, transform that and take that to 2024. You live in a world of abundance, right? There are 20,000 sort of opportunities that today exist. There are IITs, there are IIMs, you can go online. There are online colleges, universities, you can go anywhere in the world, you can learn online. So I feel the fundamental difference is that we need to break this mindset of going from living in scarcity to living in abundance. The generation today that is dealing with is with the abundance of choice. And I think one of the biggest skills that we need is your ability to critically think and learn. So AI is going to come. Every single job that you do is going to go away. As podcasters, there'll be an AI model who's going to be, possibly, using a deep fake to have your face. There'll be an AI which will possibly be generating those questions. There'll probably be an AI version of Divya who's going to be answering these answers, and that is possibly going to happen. And I look forward to that future. But the thing is that Nandini and Divya will be doing something differently. But to do that, what do we need is this ability to critically think, to constantly, take change and be able to deal with that. And fundamentally, it believes with, changing that mindset that we're going from scarcity to abundance. We need to be able to train our minds to think, to think logically, to think through change, to think through pressure. So, whether it's COVID is just the beginning. Uh, there is going to be bigger and bigger challenges that we're going to keep facing. And we as a human race have to have the ability to challenge that and keep changing with that. How do we do that at the basic level? Learn to control our mind, right? Basic shit, meditate, fitness, relationships. Second thing, if I'm talking about actual thinking, critical skills, how are you doing that? Are you constantly learning? Are you so whatever field that you've chosen? What do you enjoy doing? I look at change. I'm looking at entrepreneurship. I'm working on a startup, but within the startup, can I keep experimenting? Can I keep changing? Can I keep upskilling myself? Be connected. If I'm on social media, I'm a social media marketer. I've learned 12 platforms. Can I keep, maybe devoting 20% of my time to looking at what's happening in the world and maybe 10% to keep upskilling myself. And at the same time, have that uh, comfort in life that, life's great. You're going to have a great life. Again, there's a world of abundance. Life is again very long. uh, Lifespans earlier was 60, today it's 80. You're going to live to 120. So there is enough time to run that startup, do that podcast, run 15 companies, have those kids, and live that great life. So have that ability to constantly be agile and change, but at the same time, keep investing back in yourself. If I had to give just three things that you guys should be doing, or anyone should be doing, is clean out your social media feed, right? Understand which are the platforms that I'm looking at. Am I looking at Reddit is the place where you get new ideas, right? Twitter is the place where you're going to get what's trending in the world. Social, your Instagram and Facebook will talk about what everyone else is talking about, and YouTube is for all the other things. So clean out your feeds. Look at what are the information you're consuming. Where you're learning. What are the platforms you're learning from, and then spend 20% of your time on that. Spend 20% of your time just on basic shit like meditate, walk, work out, get out of your rooms, get this physical fitness in, and the rest 60% of your time should be on building. So whether it's your work, whether it's your startup, whether it's whatever pays the bills, I think that for me is going to be a breakup of someone looking at growing and building always.